Okay, one thing I forgot to tell you about on the last videos about the leveling jacks is only put the leveling jacks down if you're on a solid surface like stone or concrete, something like that. If you're going into grass, have you ever tried to walk across a marshy field? What usually happens is you lose your shoe, because you can put your foot into the marsh, but because your foot is like that, getting it back up is you've got more friction and it won't pull out. Same thing with the leveling jacks and grass area. What will happen, it will go through the grass, but it will get stuck and it won't pull up, and then you'll be calling me and you're going to say, Steve, what did I do? And I'm going to say, you didn't watch this video, which tells you to put these guys underneath your leveling jacks. So underneath the RV, there's 4 jacks. And what this will do is disperse. See, can you see them? There's like 10 of these guys. You got 4 jacks, 10 of these. I would recommend using 2 or 3 under each one. And what that will do is disperse the weight of the jack, the leveling jack, and give you a solid surface. And then remember to pick them up when you leave. Okay, all right, next we're on to the management panel, which is located just inside the door here. All right, so top left, you've got your generator hour counter. Okay, we give you a number of hours free each day. So let's say you've got 5 hours a day and you're renting the RV for a week. 7 times 5, 35 hours of free generator use. How do you use the generator, and why do you want to use the generator? Okay, so a couple of things. Let's say you're going down to Florida, you're driving down and you've got AC on in the front, but there's no AC in the back, and you've got some kids in the back and they're going, Dad, it's boiling in here. And your wife is looking at you and she's going to go, what are we going to do? Here's what you do. You put the generator on, allow it a minute to cycle through the RV. A beep comes on. You know when the generator's working when your light on your microwave is on. That's kind of like a signal. Then you turn on the AC. Voila! Now you have happy kids and a happy wife, and what does that make? A happy life. That's right. So how do you turn on the generator? All right, so you got like a start-stop right here. It's like a rocker switch. First of all, you want to prime the generator with fuel. It gets its fuel from the RV's gas tank. So there's a safety feature built in. If you have less than a quarter of a tank of gas, the brains of the RV, because they're very clever, you know, says you need to go to the gas station. You do not need AC, because what's worse, slightly sweaty kids or stuck in the middle of nowhere? I vote for the sweaty kids. So get yourself to the gas station. My rule of thumb, never go below half a tank. These are pretty big gas tanks in these things. It'll give you an opportunity to, you know, walk the dog, something like that, while you're filling up. All right, back to the point. So to prime the generator, you push and hold your finger on the stop button for about 10 seconds, okay? This light, I don't know if you saw it, will come on. It's a little red light, it'll come on. So 10 seconds is up, release. Now push and hold on the start button. What will happen is you'll hear the engine of the generator kind of turn over, and then hopefully it will fire up. Once it fires up, leave your finger on the start button for another second before you release. Okay, here we go. Did you hear that? Release. All right, now your generator is working. I'm going to leave it on and continue with the other things. I'm hoping in a minute you'll hear a peep, and that will be the RV's way of saying, all right, I've cycled enough energy around, you can start using the appliances. There it was. Okay, so since there it was, I'm going to switch it off just so you can hear me a bit better. So to switch off, push and hold on the stop button and it's off. Okay, what other things can you use for the generator? You can use it for outlets. So the RV is made up of a mixture of 12 volt and 110 volt. 12 volt items, such as these lights, would work without the generator. They'll just use the house batteries, the juice from the house batteries. But let's say you're going to use the microwave or the AC or something, or the outlets. You need 110, and that's what the in the absence of what they call shore power, which is connecting those electrical leads in, it will use generator power to 30 amps. Okay, all right. As you go through more and more videos, there'll be references back and forward to this. So if that was confusing, don't worry, hang in there and everything will be clear at the end. I promise. All right, so what's next? So next I have the slide, okay? And I have extend and retract. So you just press the retract and extend. And now you might be able to hear that, but you can't see it because it's out of shot. But the slide is now extending and it's bigger back there now. All right. And to retract, you just do the opposite. Some tips. Don't extend the slide until if you're on a hill, okay? It would put too much pressure on it. So try and get somewhat straight. It doesn't have to be exactly straight, but not, you know, if you're hanging off a cliff, don't extend the slide. All right, what else have we got? Here we've got battery. So can you see those 4 lights coming on? So that I press the button, there's 4 little buttons here. Each one does a different thing. So I'm pressing that, it says 4 lights for the battery. That is the coach battery. Coach battery it's nothing to do with the engine battery, like when you start up a car. It's everything to do with what's behind me, the lights, other items in the RV that can run off battery are, Stephen, mostly lights. The slide. I just powered the slide out using the battery, and a few other items. Can't remember them now, but they'll come to me. What's next? The fresh water tank. Okay, this tells you how much water you have on board, and that's a water tank. Okay, so you can fill up, let's say you're boondocking. Boondocking means without the use of utilities. So you're not at a campsite, you're not plugged into shore power, you're not plugged into water, you're not plugged into water, sewer and electricity. Okay, you have none of those things. You are living free on the open range, but you need water. So that tells you how much water you have in your water tank. Now, when I talk about water, this will all come about. So put a tab on that one. Okay, what's the next one? Black tank. That is the smelly stuff. Okay, so think about it this way. Black means poo. Gray is everything else. So gray is sink, gray is shower, gray is bathroom sink. What is black? It's the smelly stuff. Okay, and that tells you how much smelly stuff you have in your tank. And when I get to tell you about that, there'll be some tips, what to do and things like that. This is just the display panel that I'm showing you right now. All right, and then finally, the gray tank. What is the gray tank? It's everything that the black tank isn't. So what have you got there? You've got the fresh water That means stuff that you can wash your face in. You have the black tank. Don't advise washing your face in anything that has poo in it. And then you have the grey tank. And the grey tank is shower and sink. It's more of a discharge. Okay. Now what you have? Tank heaters. Okay, light came on there. Tank heaters. When to use that? When you're going somewhere that is likely to be below freezing, you put that on, but put it on a few hours before the temperature goes down, because it takes time to warm up. What it does is there's pads, heating pads essentially, underneath the grey tank, underneath the black tank, and underneath the water tank that are underneath the RV. You do not want those freezing up. So put the tank heaters up, it will warm up, keep it above freezing, and it will stop the tanks from freezing. Okay, important to remember that. And then water heater, well, that turns cold water into hot water. Put that on. It's best if you have your generator running or plugged into shore power for your water heater, because it takes up more juice and you don't want your coach batteries to run out of juice. So put that on once you're connected to some sort of power that I've just mentioned. All right, and then finally, water pump. Okay, water pump, when you're boondocking, will pump that water that I mentioned earlier that's in your water tanks into the sink, into the shower, into the toilet, so you can flush and use water. Without anything to pump it, you're not going to get any pressure behind the water for it to come to the faucets. The exception is if you're plugged into shore water. So in other words, water at a campground, water at your house, where the pressure is pushing the water through, then you don't need that. Got it? Got it. All right. We're done.